Anyway, the purpose of the video was to show you how I harvest and store my ultimately harvest and store my herbs and vegetables now. But I did a lot of back and forth and rambling and started talking about when I dried, because I did I remember, because I did do a video when I hung and dried my herbs, my cooking herbs. But whatever. The bottom line is, when this video is said and done, the bottom line is the way that I store them after I harvest and clean them is I cut them how they are going to be used in cooking. I bag them, lay them flat, smooth the air out, stick a straw into the end, seal it up to the end, stick a straw in the corner, and BJ all the air out, stick it in the freezer. That's it. They're going to be cut like they're going to be cut when they're used, unless they're a leaf herb. If it's a leaf herb, I'll just leave it flat in the bag. Make sure it's flat, so that when I take it out and chop it, it will break into the pieces it needs to break into for cooking. And then the flavor and the nutrients will be released as if fresh. There are no downfalls to it. The downfalls to drying is that you have the potential of those dried leaves just tasting like and smelling like dried leaves. So yeah, freezing is the best way to go for me on my vegetable and herbs. So I thought I'd show you what I'm working with. This is what's left of the basil. I'm drying. It has turned red. Is that normal? It's turned red. And these are got a blush, have a blush on them. But anyway, I left these on here because me and Cricky have a deal. He doesn't believe that jalapenos get so dangerously hot that you need gloves. So I'm going to have him seed those with no gloves on. And these monsters, woo! I have bags and bags of these in the freezer. Testing the volume once more, and now I have some distance, but you can see what I'm doing. You've seen me harvest everything. I have what I decided to do with the oregano is I tied it up at the end into a bushel, and I'm going and washing it that way. Wash lots and lots and lots of times, because there are all kinds of little buggies and critters and even dust that could be on there. So wash it many times. I dried the cilantro, but it turned out the dried cilantro just tastes like a bunch of leaves, so I can't get the flavor. So what I did was leave the leaves intact. This is the basil. I left the leaves intact now and put them in the jars. So when I want some, I'll do like you do bay leaves and take them out and crumble them over whatever I'm cooking. You'll see now I actually have a long stem of basil leaves that are dried and actually ready to go into the jar. I'll do that later. For my herbs, frankly, is to freeze them. I've never heard of this, but I did it accidentally when I first started storing. I just took it upon myself to think that because you freeze things like bell peppers and store them that way over the winter, I took it upon myself to think you did the same thing with herbs. I didn't know anything about drying herbs at the time, so I froze them. During which time I learned that you're supposed to hang and dry herbs and then put them in the jars and use them that way. But my experience has found that washing and freezing the herbs, it holds the flavor better. Like I said, when I dried my cilantro, You guys remember I did the video of because I bought the whole new spice rack and did my video of drying and jarring the cilantro. Well, that was fine, except that they just, when I used them in cooking, it just tasted like leaves. Am I too close to it? It just tasted like leaves. So then I started to dry the basil and just use them, leave the leaves intact, and I'll crumble them when I use them. Like I said, I found that freezing them works better. So I'll just freeze them, and then when I'm ready, I'll show you how they come apart. Like, I don't even break them up or chop them before I freeze them. I freeze them whole, because when you freeze them and you make them flat, put them in a plastic bag and make sure the bag is flat, and then you suck the air out of them and freeze them that way. The air is out, it prevents freezer burn, and the flavors are just as fresh as when you pick them, when you get ready to use them. And I'll show you that with some basil in just a minute when I'm done with this. So you saw that I harvested the oregano and my onions. Show you a few that I'll just show you a few that I've washed. And I cut off the brown ends. I start from the ends. And I cut small ringlets. I forgot about this. Now, even though they're green onions, they are still nonetheless onions. So you will cry. So I take a break in between batches. Oh. Ugh. I love these little glasses. These little glasses, the glass is really thin. Maybe. You can't tell. But the glass is really thin, and everything you drink out of it tastes so crisp. I don't care what it is, wine, Kool-Aid, like if you have a Merlot, you can let it breathe less. It takes a less amount of time for it to breathe in one of these. So anyway, I get a big ass freezer bag. I actually fold it back so I don't get any moisture on the outer edge of the bag. I don't think it matters. I'm just being detailed because I'm funny like that with some things. And this is just one batch. I got all these to go. So that's how I do the onions.